So sharing content on social media is the reason people share it genuinely is because they want to feel happy or they want to be less sad. They want to spread emotion and be part of people's lives. And it's a way to communicate. BuzzFeed creates campaigns for the whole social media ecosystem by thinking of it as one. I mean, we don't really think about, we do think about platform when we create content and what platform it's going to work on, but we also think as the whole ecosystem as the place we need to be. Our whole mantra is really getting great content to people to where they are, rather than expect them to come find us. So you might find little niche audiences across each different platform, and we got to make sure the content looks great for them. A concrete example of something that we've done with multiple platforms. We do what we call distributed extensions, which works across Snapchat. We've done quite a bit of campaigns on Snapchat. We've done YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, rest in peace, Vine. And we've done this where it works across those. So many of our campaigns do that. It's pretty neat. It just depends on what the publishers want or what the advertiser wants. And it depends on really what we think the audience is going to resonate with. So best practices across all the different platforms. BuzzFeed is really in an interesting place. We try to think 2 years ahead. And so when marketers tend to think and live in the now, and they have to create that ROI, and they have to, there's a lot of pressure to make sure that the advertising works. For us, we're always working on these new platforms. So Snapchat, although it might be something new to a revenue line, it's actually something we've been working on for many years. And our team's very integrated with them to understand how the platform works, and it's very collaborative with all the platforms. So we work very closely with Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, just to understand the platforms and how we can work best with them. The social media channels that are most important to BuzzFeed are the social media channels that our users happen to be on at that moment. And so it really is, to us, we're very agnostic on channels as far as importance. Of course, you have the big ones, and which everyone knows the ones that we have a heavy reliance on. But to us, it really is about making sure that content gets to the user. So a user to us and someone who wants to engage with our content and maybe engage with a brand is hugely valuable no matter where they are. And if we find them and create great entertaining content for them on that platform, then it's a win for us. So it doesn't really matter to us. It just matters. It's all about engagement. We know where the consumers are because we listen. And empathy is a great skill and something that is really important to us. I think BuzzFeed has been founded really on listening to the audience and understanding where they are. Our company is made up of our fans. People who love BuzzFeed, and we eat, drink, and sleep it. So we know what to write, and we're part of that audience as well, and we know where they are. And if we're not there, they tell us. And so we have very engaged, active audience that they like to share with us and tell us what's going on. For example, if you remember the dress, the yellow dress, blue dress, black dress, whatever color it was. That was a perfect example of someone from Tumblr sending us that picture and saying, hey, my friends and I are having a big debate about this dress, and we don't understand. We don't know why this is happening. Could you please ask your community? And we asked them, and I think 20 million views later, we asked them. But that was something we found on Tumblr because of our BuzzFeed community. Look at it. So in the future, so for BuzzFeed looking into the future, I don't know yet. No, there's a lot of, Snapchat to me is something that is the future. I think there's some interesting things happening, especially with messaging and dark social, and how that all works. I still believe strongly in YouTube. I think YouTube is a great channel, a great medium for distributing content. I think, I have two kids, a 12 and 14-year-old, and I get to sit with them, and they're like my own little research group, and I get to watch them. It's like zoos in animals in the zoo, and I watch them and I see what platforms they're on, and they're not really predominantly on one platform. So the kids today are really on. I sound like an old person, kids today, but the younger generations are on every platform, and they're on platforms depending on where their friends are. So they might be using Instagram for messaging. They use Snapchat for messaging. They use YouTube for entertaining. So you can kind of see the trends of what they're looking at and what they're understanding. And they do like to experiment with new platforms. And you see the ones that stick. The ones that stick are obviously the ones that their friends are on. So I think all the mainstream, the main social media platforms are the ones that we know of at the moment, and especially ones that we're entertaining with brands. Facebook's definitely trying to get engagement across Facebook Live, which could be considered, it's the same platform, but a new format. So I think formats are probably more important for us to think about, and new formats and new ways of engaging, because consumers are constantly changing. So as consumers change, formats change. As formats change, the new platforms will emerge. I mean, Snapchat was a perfect example of a new platform coming out that became, it was an amalgamation of something that people were looking to do on other platforms that couldn't do it. You know, so Vine was a very, like, Snapchat to me is a very simple iteration of Vine. So you kind of think about where people engage and what formats they engage with, and that'll probably be the next type of platform. But I would say messaging is still key. The ability to share emotion and share happiness through messaging in a way other than just words is going to be really important. So we get asked quite a bit. I mean, I think people will be pretty surprised, and it's not really a pitch. Our branded content at times outperforms our editorial content. It really just depends on the content, but we don't see a massive drop-off on branded content. So it is a great opportunity for brands to engage with an audience and a community in a way that there's no lesser value because it's a branded or promoted by. Our audience will let us know if it is too integrated, and if the brand is if it's too I guess advertising is not really a word, but if it's too much like an advertisement, then the audience will let us know. But it's really important for us to keep it authentic and to make sure that content resonates with them, and regardless if there's a brand there or not. Authenticity is the most important thing for us. I mean, hands down, the secret to native advertising is really being authentic and keeping things real. Being honest, I guess, goes alongside with authenticity, but then also we do a lot where we look at creating, talking to people in a communication format where we teach people stuff. You might have seen Proper Tasty or Tasty Einfach, or and we actually teach people how to cook. And so things like that, and connecting people, and food is a great way to connect with people. But so I think connecting through knowledge, connecting through emotion, through that happiness, through sadness, through those human emotions, and then also through identity, right? And through identity is an important way to communicate. How do you create native advertising that will go viral? The big question. Creating content to go viral, I don't think we don't think about, hey, this is going to go viral. I mean, of course, we'd love it to. But to us, it's really about getting content and being authentic and getting it to the people that want to read it. Now, if you strike a nerve, and sometimes you get a combination of identity, emotion, and how to, and you get this combination and it works really well, and a lot of it's about timing, but if you really strike a chord with along those human emotions, you do have a higher tendency for things to get shared. So when we think about virality, it really, to us, we don't just want things to go viral for the sake of going viral, right? Because if there's something we want to go viral, there's got to be a reason to it. If it's an editorial piece, we want to make impact in the world. We want to make change for good. If it's a branded piece, we want to make sure the brand is displayed and put in a nice light for awareness. So it really just depends. But I think virality to me is authenticity. Really being honest with your consumers and writing stuff that they really enjoy and that's entertaining.